Hey everyone, it's Ellis, and this is going to be the champion first impressions video of Aphelios. I hope that I'm saying that right, but come cast in 2020, I will make sure to figure out several different ways to pronounce this champion's name so that everyone just feels extremely comfortable. Anyways, let's make sure that we get through everything here, because apparently it's a very awkward kind of champion, and it's the first of its kind in League of Legends. So, guns, basic attacks, and ammo. Aphelios cycles through 5 weapons, each with its own basic attack. He attacks with his main hand weapon, but always carries an offhand weapon he can swap with W, so yeah, he's a shooter. Aphelios can't pick and choose which 2 weapons he equips at any given time. His weapons have 50 ammo, Moonlight each, and then a weapon runs empty, you get the next one in line. Empty weapons go to the end of the line to recharge, okay? Since Aphelios can swap between his main hand and offhand, weapon order changes throughout the game based on which weapons you use first, okay? Abilities. Aphelios only has 3 buttons, Q, W, and R. W swaps between his main hand and offhand, leaving him with 2 actual abilities, kind of. Each of Aphelios' 5 weapons has its own Q ability when equipped as his main hand weapon. Each Q applies bonus attack and effect based on his offhand weapon. All 5 Qs cost mana and ammo, and each has its own cooldown. You can Q switch guns and then immediately use the other Q. Aphelios automatically learns Q at level 2 and slowly becomes stronger over the course of the game. We'll get to what each Q does in the weapon sections below. Aphelios' ultimate Moonlight Vigil sends forward a moon bomb that explodes on the first enemy hit, damaging nearby enemies. Then Aphelios follows up with enhanced basic attacks from his main hand weapon against all enemy champions caught in the explosion. He automatically learns R at level 6 and automatically levels up at levels 11 and 16, okay? Calibrum. I hope I'm saying this right, is a poke harass weapon. Its basic attacks have extra range, so think rapid fire cannon, I guess. When abilities deal damage with Calibrum, they mark enemy, someone's saying I skipped something, level up. Since Aphelios automatically learns his Q and R, he puts his 18 level up points into stats rather than abilities. Attack damage, attack speed, bonus armor. Okay. That's something I'm going to have to keep in mind. Calibrum is a poke harass weapon. Its basic attacks have extra range. When abilities deal damage with Calibrum, they mark enemies hit. Players can right-click to mark enemies anywhere on the map to follow up with a basic... Anywhere on the map? So even if they go away, or his non-Calibrum weapon in case where he swaps Calibrum to his offhand before firing, the attack detonates other nearby marks for bonus damage against the marked targets. Moonshot. Fire a skill shot that damages the first unit hit and marks them. Okay. Moonlight Vigil Calibrum effect. Moonlight Vigil's follow-up attacks mark all enemies hit. These marks deal higher damage when consumed. Okay. Severum, the Scythe Pistol. Severum. Severum is a sane weapon that heals Aphelios for a portion of the damage it deals. Overhealing from Severum is converted into a small shield. Okay. Severum Q Onslaught. Gain movement speed and rapidly fire your main hand and offhand weapons at the nearest enemy, prioritizing champions. Onslaught shots behave like basic attacks but deal reduced damage. Moonlight Vigil Severum effect grants Aphelios a flat heal. She has a heal, he has rapid fire cannon, he has Bloodthirster, he has Bloodthirster combined with lethal tempo or something like that. Gravitum, the cannon, as a utility weapon that applies a decaying slow to enemies, so that's obviously really good. Gravitum, well, now, because I'm seeing Gravitum and I'm seeing Severum, the question obviously pops into my head, can he jungle? Gravitum is a utility weapon that applies a decaying slow to enemies. Gravitum Q Eclipse, sounds like a Pokemon ability or something. Damaging and root all enemies on the map affected by Gravitum slow. Eclipse doesn't use Aphelios' offhand weapon. Moonlight Vigil Gravitum effect, follow-up attacks by a massive increase slow. Amazing. So I see where all the runes went. Infernum, the Flamethrower. Great. Infernum is an AoE wave clear weapon. It deals basic attack damage and ability damage and creates a damage cone behind enemies hit. Says enemies. Infernum Q Duskwave. Spout out a wave of flame damaging enemies, then basic attacks all enemies hit with your offhand weapon. Moonlight Vigil Infernum effect. Moonlight Vigil follow-up attacks create damage circles around enemies hit instead of damage cones behind them. Okay. Crescendum the Chakram. Crescendum is a close-range DPS weapon that behaves like a boomerang. Once ability basic attacks with Crescendum, he can't attack again until it returns to him, but his attack resets when it does. Attack speed increases Crescendum's travel speed instead. The closer Aphelios is to his target, the less distance Crescendum has to travel, and faster Aphelios can attack. Okay. Boomerang, right? I don't know what I said. Sorry, Twitch chat. Crescendum Q Sentry. Deploy a turret that shoots... they create... when abilities of their follow-up attacks deal damage with Crescendum, they create a temporary copy of it for each enemy hit that increases the strength of Crescendum's basic attack. Okay, Sentry. Deploy a turret that shoots the nearest sentry with your offhand... That's Heimer. Moonlight Vigil Crescendum effect. If Moonlight Vigil hits fewer than 3 enemies, its follow-up attacks still increase the damage crescendum basic as of 3. What is going on? Custom HUD. Passive. Explaining Aphelios' weapon and level ups. The tooltip is as long as the article. Aphelios' main hand weapon and its remaining ammo. Okay. 3 is Q. Remaining ammo. Does he have to recall? Aphelios' off... Or, well, no, it changes his weapon, right? Aphelios' offhand weapon and its remaining ammo is 4. If its Q is on cooldown, the icon will also indicate remaining cooldown. The next weapon you'll get once one of your weapons runs out of ammo, and then R. This is a really cool champion. I actually, if anyone remembers when I was doing, like, theorized champions that would be really cool for League, I actually talked about a champion that only had stats, if anyone remembers that. But I said that maybe it should be, like, a Juggernaut of some sort that has, like, a passive that he can use. This is kind of like that, and I'm loving this so much. Additionally, if your main hand gun has 10 or less ammo remaining, the ammo tracker will appear on the right side of your screen. Yes. Weapon of the Faithful. Mastering Aphelios' Moonstone arsenal may prove to be one of your most daunting challenges in all of League. Are you devoted enough to the task? Get ready. Ready yourself. The final weapon of the Faithful. Okay. So this is, like, Diana's lover from high school. Okay. And he's actually coming out because he heard that My Chemical Romance was getting back together, and so he's here to woo his woman, and that is exactly what he has appeared for. So I just wanted to point that out to all you guys. In terms of what I'm actually thinking, I guess his damage and his numbers really impact him. The fact that he has a slow on one of his weapons, and the fact that he has AoE damage, the fact that he has a rapid-fire type cannon item, it does make me wonder if he can just go into the jungle, at which point maybe his ammo and everything isn't really that concerning in his mana. Alternatively, because he's switching between, like, melee and ranged weapons, does it mean that he's just designed to be a top laner? I don't totally know, but I'm imagining that it's jungle, mid, or top. I can't imagine that a champion with this kind of a problem with his items are actually going to end up going into ADC role. He has heal inside of this, so I guess that Riot is trying to suggest that he's actually going to be an AD carry. And also Twitch chat is telling me that he only has AD items that he can end up purchasing. But, oh, he can't build items? All of his weapons are ranged. I guess then he probably does end up in ADC. Okay, Twitch chat is confusing me. Obviously, this is a super interesting champion. His numbers on everything are going to impact him unless he has the ability to just rotate out of things that are actually bad. If he ends up getting gated or some of his guns are actually poor, I can see a problem with balancing. This is already obviously going to be a balance nightmare. The fact that he upgrades his stats will definitely create diversity in terms of how he's going to be able to play. I don't know what his range is. I also don't know what his movement speed is. These are all things that are really, really important to trying to think about what he can end up doing. Because as it stands right now, this is such an overloaded kit that it's giving me like Kaisa overloaded kit plus Jhin vibes, and I'm a huge fan of absolutely broken champions, but this is really something else. And if his damage and his clear and his guns are actually strong, and if he can jungle, obviously having the rapid fire cannon and the slow is really, really powerful for ganking. But with the way that the current meta is right now, he would actually have to probably be really fast. But it also, he gets base stats every single time that he levels up, so it's looking really, really, really strange. He has so many different abilities, he has so many different ways to actually, well, we say that he has so many different ways to itemize, but like all things, it's probably going to be reduced down to a handful, like perhaps 3 or 4 different variations, given how flexible his stat change and guns are likely to be. So, we haven't had a champion like this in a very long time. But, does look very cool. I don't know if he's out on the PBE yet. I have no idea what his base MS is. Now the thing though is that he doesn't have all of these other tools that some other ADCs have. So it's leading me to think that maybe it's made up for with raw damage so that he's able to threaten things. Some people are saying in Twitch chat right now that he's on PvE tomorrow. So obviously that'll be really cool. When I'm thinking about runes for a champion like this, it already becomes difficult without actually seeing how he's going to interact, but also the numbers on all of his weapons, because that's going to impact how he plays laning phase, what supports are viable with him. He has a really, really, really nice kit, but there's so many things missing from it that a lot of newly released champions have. And so while Kai'Sa has mobility and repositioning and all these other tools inside of her arsenal, this guy is really strong, and he has Jhin-like aspects to him. But if he's not as powerful as old Jhin, I would imagine that he is going to suffer basically the same fate. But maybe he's able to be flexed mid and top because of his versatility. But that is the only feeling I guess I get from reading this. This is a really bizarre first impressions. His stats will affect everything because he's lacking what a lot of newly released champions lacked. So he could be doomed the same way that Jhin is. And if that's the case, he'll probably be really, really strong on release to sell skins and sell his champion, and then he'll gradually be nerfed down. And at that point, I'm not seeing anything in his kit that would allow him to realistically recover if his numbers are just actually too bad, which would be a really sad thing if he is an ADC. So I guess that is possibly all that's going on there. You can get bonus armor penetration, attack damage, attack speed, so obviously he's only to be built AD, so I doubt that any of his weapons have any AP things going on, or any of his abilities have AP, although maybe Moonlight's AP, because maybe the Moonlight thingy is AP, but I don't know. He's here to marry Diana, okay? Can we just accept that right now? I guess that's pretty much it. He actually looks like Silas's long-lost brother. I have no idea. Silas got caught. They were both stealing a car. He got away. Silas got imprisoned, and now they're both mad. So, doesn't matter. My Chemical Romance is coming, as is the Black Parade. So, let's look forward to seeing this guy's base stats.